Yes, sir. All right, listen, man. I'm gonna show you that Black Americans, us Black Americans are the wealthiest people, the wealthiest Black people on the planet. You know, we're the most popular Black people on the planet. We're also the wealthiest Black people on the planet. All right, so I will show you this right now. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to see if I can. First, let's address that um we are a nation, right? We are a nation, right? You think you are a US citizen, which you are on paper, right? Because the US is a corporation that exists on paper, but before we had written languages, we were always a nation, right? Um, indigenous people, as indigenous people, we never really had a written language, right? Everything was oral and we were spiritual people. Being that we were spiritual people, we didn't need to write anything down because you can go to the Akashic record, and if you know what the Akashic record is, um, you can go to the Akashic record spiritually through astral travel and other methods and get any type of information or knowledge, on the past, present, or even the future. So we didn't need a written language, being that we started to mix with the Europeans, you know, um, especially the Caucasian Europeans, we started to be taught to become more focused on the physical. So, um, we're not necessarily focused on the astral body, the ethereal body, the spiritual body or the mental bodies. We're focused more on the physical body because that's what we was trained to do since public school. Public school, which is founded by the Rockefeller families. But we are a nation, a wealthy nation, you know. We just don't keep the money. You know what I'm saying? But a nation is, at least by definition, a nation is a type of social organization, that's definitely us, where a collective identity, a national identity, has emerged from a combination of shared features across a given population, such as language, history, ethnicity, culture, territory, or society. Some nations are constructed around ethnicity, while others are bound by political constitutions. So we have an ethnicity, we have a bloodline. We've been around for at least 400 years, right? Depending on whether you believe about the slave trade, whether we came from Africa or not, I don't, because I know I'm American Indian, I'm indigenous. You know what I'm saying? And I know most of you are, even though there were some people who came by boat from Africa and Europe. There were Black Britons, Black Germans, Black Celts that came over here um, from Africa and Europe. Africa and Europe is the same land. Africa and Europe is connected. It's not separated. You could drive from Africa to Europe. So they just named it two different things, so you think it's two different continents and the separated is really the same. But um most of us are American Indian or indigenous, but you can believe what you want to believe. But what I can show you is that, well, I don't really have to show you. You know that we've been here for at least 400 years as a nation, as of black people, sharing the same culture, sharing the same identity, sharing the same language. In fact, we kind of make our own versions of language because in each city, at least in each major city, we have different dialects and different um words that we use and make up that they call ebonics. Right? In New York, we have our own way of talking. right? We say that as being, you know, word to my moms. You feel me? Word to mommy. That's how we talk in Houston. They have their own language. Cali, they have their own language. St. Louis, Chicago, the Carolinas, Atlanta, we all have different versions of English because English is a trade language and there's different versions of English, just like the UK has their own version of English. The white people, the Caucasians in the UK have their own version of English, and the black people in the UK have their own version of English, even though they only count the Caucasian version of English. It's the same in America. They only count white people's version of English, while they demonize our version of English and say it's Ebonics or it's lesser than, right? It's improper English, but it's not improper because there is no proper because there's just different versions, right? English evolved in many different ways, you know. Remember, they used to speak Old English, which is a whole different English than the English we say and speak now, you know. And European English or UK English is totally different from our English. So Black Americans, we have our own versions of English, and it depends on the city and state. Of course, you got the Geechee Gullah down south; they have their own version of English that they speak, but we all have our own version of English. You know what I'm saying? We all have different dialects and different words and different um what they now call slang, but it's not slang, it's English. You know what I'm saying? And we got different things that we speak, right? But we are a nation, and I believe, let's see, how much do Black Americans spend annually? We may not keep it, but we do spend it. But everything flows in and out, so everything must be spent. Whether it's invested or spent, it's the same thing. But investment mean that your money is coming back to you after you spend it. So Black Americans spend approximately 835 billion annually on consumer expenditures. This figure represents about 10% of the total spending of the US market, and that's a lot of money. You know what I mean? They claim in 2022 we spent 1.6 trillion. Well, that must have been 2021 that they was reporting of then. So 2021 we spent about 1.6 trillion, which is double what we usually spend, right? So think about that. We are a nation. We're richer than Nigeria. They say that Nigeria is the richest country, you know? Hold on. Richest black country in the world. Richest black country in the world. And look, Nigeria is the richest black country in the world, primarily due to its significant reserves and the wealth of its business magnates such as Aiko Dangote. Listen, if that's true, then we're 100% richer than Nigeria, which I already know. You know, well, we know that this man is probably the richest black man, right? But our richest black man is not really that short of him, right? He's worth what, 13.9 billion. Let's look at our richest black man. Richest black man in America. Hold on. Richest black American. Robert F. Smith. Hold on. Nah, that wasn't. And what year was this exactly? Robert F. Smith. 8 billion. Nah, that's an old article though. Richest black man and America. Boom. There we go. That's him. David Stewart. He's worth 11 billion, which is 2 billion short of the last dude from Nigeria, you know. And he's worth that this year, right? Chairman of Worldwide Technology, major IT company, right? So, and we already know we have a couple billionaires. We got Kanye, we got Jay-Z with Hove, we got Diddy, Michael Jackson was damn near billionaire, Bill Cosby. We got a couple billionaires, and those are just entertainment billionaires. There's other billionaires that I'm not thinking about right now that's dealing with other things like but we got billionaires, and it's not just about the billionaires; it's really about the people. You know, um, there's a reason why Africa think we're rich, even though we may think we're not. Most Africans think we're rich, and it's not just because of rap and they see people driving Rolls Royces and all this other stuff. It's our spending habits as well. The money that we make is way higher than the money that they make. We see actually more money than not any African country on a day to day, week to week, month to month basis. We spend more money than any African country on a week to week, month to month basis. All right. So we're definitely the wealthiest people in America. We're not poor. We're not poor. You feel me? The people that you see struggling in the hood, if you're struggling in the hood, you are not poor, bro. You feel me? It's not that you're poor, it's that your environment demands more spending, which makes you think you're poor. You know what I'm saying? You know, and you know who the environment was set up by. But that can be changed. And also we have solutions. We have solutions, man, that we can pull our money together. And you don't even have to really pull your money together. Honestly, we could take 100,000 of us and and we could take 100,000 of us and invest what like $1 a week, bro. Let's look up how much. Let's look up how much it takes to start up a business or to maintain a proper business. Let me say buy. How much does it take to maintain a business on average? I should have put average. Should have put average because that's what I want to know. Yeah, average of a small business. What's the average? On average, small businesses spend 40,000 in their first year, but ongoing monthly costs can widely depending on the industry, a specific business model. Okay, but I'm just using the average. So 40,000 a year on cost of business operations, right? So $1 a day, 100,000 people. I mean, not $1 a day, but $1 a week. 100,000 of us. If we can invest $1 a week, which is nothing, clearly, right? We can start two businesses, at least two businesses, per week. Per week, that would be what, 8 businesses a month. You know, 52 weeks in a year. So that's two. That's what 104 businesses a year that we could have. You feel me? I'm just saying. That's 104 businesses a year we could have. National wide, nationally wide, right? And we could have them in the 10 major cities. New York City, L.A., Houston, Chicago, um, DC. We could have these all over the 10 major cities and some in the suburbs, right? We could set up certain private trusts. We could tax these businesses where maybe 5 to 10% of the profits come back into the trust and get reinvested in the opening more businesses, more Black American businesses. You know, we could also do another tax where we do a land tax where we tax 5%, another 5% of the business to invest in acres of land. You know what I mean? Um, it's a couple things we could do, and we could do this on a weekly basis. Everybody got $1 a week to spend. Everybody got $1 a week to spend, and 100,000 people is nothing. And I'm just saying the minimum. You know what I mean? 100,000 people is nothing, y'all. Um, that's nothing, and that would be 400,000 a month. That's minimum, right? And two Black American owned businesses a week we could open up in different cities. You know what I mean? We could all support that businesses. We'll make a list, a website where we share all the businesses that we got, and we could cycle money through them businesses. But the key though, the key other than that, that's a solution, but that's not gonna that's not gonna help if we can't protect our businesses. Cause we know, I don't know if you know. In fact, you probably don't know, right? We had over about 100 different towns in America directly after slavery was so-called allegedly abolished, even though it was just moved to the prison system, and now it's slave labor turned to prison labor. But we had over 100 towns destroyed, man, in many different ways. And I'm gonna cover that in another video. But we had over 100 towns, and it wasn't just Black Wall Street. You know, they destroyed these towns, bro. You know, and they still destroy towns. You know, they just do it slowly. They do it slowly to where you can't see it. You know, where they destroy Black wealth using eminent domain. You know, eminent domain is where they can your land or your business for public use. You know, eminent domain is the power to take private property for public use. I mean, they basically can come up with an excuse to destroy your business and your land. You know, especially if you Black, right? You could be a wealthy business. You could have, you know, served the community, and they could say, "Yo, we're gonna build a train here. We're gonna build a bus stop, a bus route here. You know, we're gonna build. We'll do any. You know, they gonna make any kind of excuse. You know, but they've done that. I just seen them do that to this family in Atlanta who was in business for 15 years, and I actually forgot where it's at in Atlanta, but they was on the side of a highway, if I'm not mistaken, and they was in business for 15 years, and they, you know, they just hit them with the eminent domain, and now they got to move their business. You know what I'm saying? But that location was prominent for them. That location they was in was causing them, you know, profits. You know, the prominent location right off the highway, and they just took it from them in their domain. They've been doing this though. You know, they come up with a lot of reasons, bro, to destroy us. So you know, we gotta protect ourselves. We gotta protect our land. You know, and we gotta come together. Most importantly, we gotta have numbers. You know, they say it's 40 million of us. How many Black Americans? Yeah. Mm, they say it's 47 million, but what about now though? Let me see. 2024. That would be weird if it's still 47 million.